He got her number off an AIDS walk list?
He got her number off an AIDS walk list.
Because we watched Season 7, Episode 9, The Sponge. Hello, Katy.
Hello, Derek.
How are you?
I'm well.
How'd you like The Sponge?
So, this for me was a 70-30 episode. Everything to do with Kramer, not a fan. All the Kramer stuff this episode, no. The rest of it, very funny.
Oh, yeah?
I thought so.
Sure.
Jerry had a bunch of, one-liners that made us both laugh out loud.
Mm-hmm.
The Sponge story is funny. George's story is funny. What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, I knew everything that was going to happen with Kramer, so there was no, surprise.
I mean, you could probably... I knew what was going to happen, and I haven't seen this.
You knew that he was going to get beat up by the homosexuals that stole the China hutch?
So, when I read the synopsis, it says... Okay, I'll say it later, but he joins an AIDS walk, won't wear a ribbon. And then... I didn't foresee that, but I remember you saying that those guys came back. And so when they did come back, I'm like, oh, the gay toughs. Okay. And none of it was funny after that. Are we supposed to laugh at the juxtaposition of gay men being hooligans instead of stereotypically refined and, whatever caricature of gay men?
You're saying that stereotypically refined gay men is funny?
No, I'm saying
we're not watching Frasier, Katy.
We're talking about Gil Chesterton here? Anyway.
It was a joke about how...
Yeah, okay.
Now that I've explained my joke, it's hilarious.
Yeah. You know what I mean. We're supposed to find humor in the fact that the gays are tough, and it's a very weak joke.
Do you want to hear the original story for this episode?
Yes.
So I guess Peter Melman wrote it before the George season 7 arc was decided upon.
Okay.
Oh, spoiler alert. Peter Melman wrote this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It included a story in which Kramer and Newman buy stock in a company that sells over-the-counter contraceptive devices because Kramer had heard that the Sponge was going off the market. And then they go to Wall Street to start a rumor that their company, in order to start a buyout rumor on their company by whispering loudly about it at brokerage houses so that their stock would go 5 or 10 points before they sell it.
That second part got way too in the weeds.
But then another guy on Wall Street makes a negative rumor about their company and the stock price falls.
I know how to punch up this aborted storyline. They don't go to the stock brokerages to hype it up. They go to a women's march or something, or get Elaine's dinner party to hype it up.
In George's storyline, George meets a girl who argues that she and George are so like each other that if they dated, they would have great sex for about 10 days and then hate each other and split up. George, seizing the opportunity, wonders out loud if there would be any problems if they stayed with each other for a week, and then, by mutual consent, would call it quits. That way they could have all the pleasure without any of the pain. George is on the edge of victory when he learns that the girl likes a certain type of contraceptive, and the entire West Side has been cleared out by the product by Elaine.
Okay, so this is before the Susan story.
Before the Susan story.
Gotcha.
And then Jerry's is exactly the same. Jerry's is somewhat the same, except when his girlfriend asks him if he donates to AIDS charities, he says that he does, and he blurts out the name of Kramer and Newman's company. And then his girlfriend, believing in his ramblings about the Trier company and its AIDS research capacity, buys 5,000 shares just in time for the negative rumors to take hold, and Kramer and Newman's stock price falls to the floor.
Okay.
So she goes bankrupt. Oh, that seems overly complicated.
I'm going to read I know this is out of order, but I'm going to read the actual synopsis because I feel like it's necessary. Elaine's favorite contraceptive is going off the market. Kramer joins an AIDS walk but won't wear a ribbon. George tells Susan a secret about Jerry. I mean, that doesn't say much, but.
So, as I said, this episode was written by Peter Melman. This is his first episode that he wrote in season 7. But he writes, like, over the course of the entire series, he writes like 40 episodes. So it's like a not insignificant amount of Seinfeld episodes.
Did you know that Conan O'Brien only wrote 3 episodes of The Simpsons?
But he was in the writer's room for more.
I guess so, but I felt like the way I remember it is that he had a much bigger impact on the show. Anyway, continue.
It was directed by Andy Ackerman. It aired on December 7th, 1995. Vulture.com ranked it as the 94th best Seinfeld episode. So like worse than average.
Yeah.
Or worse than median. Screen Crush ranked it as the 29th best episode. IMDb gave it an 8.3 out of 10 and slotted it into the 84th ranked position. So kind of middle of the pack as well as...
Is it because it was a women's story?
No, both Vulture.com and Screen Crush basically just said like, this is the episode that introduced the term sponge-worthy and then was like, Jerry's a bad person for changing his pant size from 31 to 32.
So I feel like Screen Crush for these cultural touchstones is like, this is where Spongeworthy came from. It's a great episode. And Vulture says this is where Spongeworthy came from. That doesn't make it a great episode.
So who are the guest stars? Oh, I'm glad you asked, Katie. Thank you. So we had Heidi Swedberg returning in her role as Susan. We had John Paragon as Cedric and Yul Vasquez as Bob, the aforementioned homosexual toughs. However, we had Jennifer Guthrie playing Lena. She was in a couple of episodes of Beverly Hills 90210. She was in an episode of NYPD Blue, and she was in an episode of Sex and the City. We had Scott Patterson, who played Billy. He was in Saw 5. He was in Saw 6. And he was in 154 episodes of Gilmore Girls. So Jerry, not a fan of cosmetic frames or cosmetic glasses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The stand-up?
Oh, okay. The way he looked at me, you looked like you had totally forgotten about the originating stand-up.
I wrote it right at the top. Glasses equal smart.
How come you got laser eye surgery then?
You know, that's when I really started to lose my mental faculties. So maybe we're onto something.
You gotta start wearing... Is that why you wear sunglasses? Probably miss your old glasses.
I have my old glasses. I had the plastic lens put back in them. I thought I'd wear them for fashion. And then I just really liked not having to worry about where my glasses are.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
You briefly had glasses.
Yeah, because the medication I was on made my eyesight get worse. And then I went off the medication and now my eyesight's better.
I saw a picture of you that came up on my phone like, remember this day 8 years ago? And I was like, no, because it was you in glasses.
Yeah, I post-pandemic went to the eye doctor to be like, I haven't had my eyes checked in a while. And she's like, oh yeah, your old prescription, your eyes have gotten better and you don't need glasses anymore.
You've gotten the Pierre Polyev makeover.
Did we talk on this podcast how I needed a headshot for a webinar that I was hosting and you took my picture and I have an uncanny resemblance to Pierre Polyev?
You were wearing a blue suit jacket.
Yep.
Your hair was sort of like coiffed. Yeah, it really looked like you could be a body double for him. I think you're better looking, for the record.
You should. I'm your husband.
Yeah.
I'm also not a dog whistling misogynist. Got some new pants. Still a 31 waist.
31 waist since college. So this is his secret. He scratches the 32 off pants and right. Where is he writing this? On
the tag on the jeans, it always has your size.
Like the leather patch?
Yeah.
But how is
Welcome to men's clothing, Katy.
How is he putting a convincing looking 31 there?
Mm.
It'd be better.
He's a forger.
It would be better if he was actually like a 37 and he just sort of rubbed out the top.
Do you know how big a 37 is?
No. Obviously, I don't know men's pant sizes.
I don't want to body shame anybody out there if they're a 37. First off, like odd number sizes are fairly rare.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like common 28, 30. Like
okay.
If you go into like a regular store, you're going to get like 28 to 40, but it's going to be like by twos.
Okay.
And it's the inches around, supposedly, I think.
Okay.
Were we talking about hat sizes and trying to figure out if it's around?
Radius?
Radius? Perimeter? It's the perimeter of the waist of the jeans. But like, you know those jeans that I bought from Amazon that fall off me?
No. Oh, okay, yes.
They're 34s. So like...
Okay, why'd you buy 34?
I wanted loose-fitting jeans.
Oh. So they're too loose.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
So 37 would just be like...
Again, I don't know. I can't picture this...
falling off of you.
Never mind the 37 to 31. Never mind that.
Sorry, we can't have like single digits of like... that don't mean anything anyways.
Well, yeah. Welcome to women's wear.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're this random number. It means a different thing at every store.
Well, I'm an 8 everywhere that counts.
I had something to say. I forget.
You still on the pill? I think birth control should be talked about in an open setting.
In an open forum. So, let's get into the sponge. I don't know anything about the sponge.
At this point, I don't know how sponge works, and I'm too afraid to ask.
I did a bunch of Googling just now. My Instagram ads are going to be so weird.
You remember like high school, grade 6, like health class. They taught us about so many different forms of birth control.
Yeah.
There was the sponge, there was the diaphragm, the spermicidal jelly, the condoms, abstinence.
Pill?
The pill. Doesn't stop any STDs, but...
Neither does the sponge.
Oh, the sponge doesn't stop it. It's just
It's
like a permeable diaphragm?
Okay, we have to talk about it. No.
you stick a sponge up there? Do you just like clean up afterwards? Is it douching?
Oh my God.
It's douching?
No.
It's not douching?
Well, now there's the ring and the shot and the patch and the male pill is coming, apparently.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to say I have a lot to say about this topic. Let us describe what the sponge is. When Elaine held it up, I was shocked. I was like, what the hell is that thing? It looks...
Because it was too small or too big?
It's huge. It's like the top of a drink, like a dome lid of a drink cup. Mm-hmm. It's gigantic. I had no idea what they looked like or what. Did you know they have a ribbon attached to them so you can pull it out? A ribbon.
Like, nobody's ever used these, right?
Okay.
That's why they were taken off the market.
I'm going to the second page of my notes on this episode. 1983, sponge was introduced. So it is a barrier and spermicidal product, not effective against STIs. So it hasn't been tested, but they figured, this is true, they figured that a sponge blocking the cervix would keep sperm out.
I feel like they should have tested that theory.
Well, most of the work is done by the gel. But they're like, it's sort of in the way, so there's that. By 1993, the sponge had almost 30% of the market share.
That's crazy.
Well, because it was over the counter. You don't need a prescription. So there's that advantage. Also, you could put it in up to 24 hours before, or you could leave it in for 24 hours. So at the end, the tag where Elaine's like, we're not going again because I'm not going to
use it a second. I don't know, yeah.
She didn't have to Because you can leave it in.
Maybe she'd already taken it out.
You're supposed to leave it in for at least 6 hours.
Are you supposed to sleep with it?
Yeah. This is all news to me. This is what I learned. It makes sense because...
No, none of this makes sense.
You leave it in so the gel can keep doing its work, right? So they could go again in the morning.
Okay. Let's.
I'm not going to help you respond to this. Just what are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. But the more I learn about the sponge, I'm on board. And guess what? They're back.
Are they?
They are back.
The tomorrow sponge.
Tomorrow? You can get them at Shoppers for apparently $6 each. That's a lot.
Can't you get like 40 condoms for $6?
Yeah. But it's in her control.
Sure, yeah.
And you don't have to open the package like a chip bag.
No, you can put condoms on 24 hours beforehand as well, if you're dedicated. I can't remember what I was going to say. Are they better now? Did they test it to make sure it actually works?
No, still no.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So first off, I made the joke, like, the tomorrow sponge, like, previously it was called the today sponge.
Yeah.
New one, we call it the tomorrow sponge. But this is like looking forward, the tomorrow sponge. It's not the day after pill.
Yeah.
We're forward thinking.
It's proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm going to get some. Better put in a sponge.
But then what if that falls through? You're like, I
can fall through?
No, not the sponge. Your plans. Then you've wasted one. Then you got to get some.
If a woman needs to have sex, she can have sex. The plans never fall through. She always has the option. She can find someone to use that sponge for her. That is not a problem that we face.
At the end, Jerry and George are talking about condoms, and Jerry's asking, did you have the makeup sex? And George is like, I didn't get the package open in time. Why do they make it so difficult? Jerry goes, well, it gives her one last chance to change her mind. Mm-hmm. So Elaine learns that the Today Sponge is being removed from the market, so she goes on a hard target search. Mm-hmm. I've also conducted a hard target search for a pharmacy item.
You've also done it for wine?
Yeah, but I was looking for store brand eye wipes.
Oh, those eye wipes you like? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't like the way I said that.
You sounded very excited there. Yeah.
Listen.
Store brand eye wipes. Yeah. That's
Listen.
my jam. Yeah. Store brand eye wipes.
They're the only good ones. Go. So I had an eyelash infection years ago from bad eye makeup remover. And I had to take antibiotic, but then also get eye wipes to do eye makeup remover and then do these sterile wipes. And the ones that the eye doctor told me to get really stingy. Mm. I'm like, what's the point of this? I can't touch my lash line with it because it hurts. Mm-hmm. And right next to it are the Life brand ones. So I'm like, I'll try those. They smell wonderful. They don't sting. I love them. I still use them. I wash my face and then I do that to just get all the stuff off. But then they didn't have them for 4 years.
I remember when you were running low and our daughter, in the middle of the night was like, oh, I have something in my eye. I need an eye wipe. And you were like, I don't want her to use my eye wipes.
Listen, I gave her the first one. Mm. And then I think she liked the eye wipes because every night she's like, I have something in my eyes. Mm-hmm. They're really good. I don't blame her.
You're like, shut up, kid. Go to sleep.
I kept some in our first aid kit as in the greatest of emergencies. At least we have 5 left. But they're back.
There you go.
They were probably somebody keeps checking our website for this product and emailing us and asking us when it's going to be back. And then I bought, 12 boxes.
So the packaging that I was envisioning for the Today Sponge would probably look more like an eye wipe package, like a
condom-y thing.
Yeah.
I was picturing it being quite flat.
Yeah. I was picturing it flat and also larger than what Elaine showed.
Larger?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how bodies work.
Like the palm of your hand?
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
I thought it was going to be like those towels that come in a little tablet form and you get them wet and they expand. Because you have to get the sponge wet. You have to wet it before you put it in.
Yep, you do.
So why are they so big to start with? Why aren't they tiny? And then they go... Whoop.
You do have to wet it before you put it in.
Shut up.
Can't really remember. I just came back from shopping for a speedboat.
Oh, I remember. Sorry. I was trying to think of what the sponge looked like. And it's not a drink cup lid. It's those Nespresso pods that have the milk inside.
Mm.
That's what it looks like.
Don't mistakenly put that in your Keurig. And then Jerry steals a woman's number off an AIDS walk list.
He does that.
I often think about, I don't know, like your information security. Like you sign up for lists, like at a restaurant or something. You just put your number out there. Anybody can walk up and just steal it.
Yeah, but what are they going to do with it that auto dialers don't already do?
Mm. It's the association with you.
I guess my bigger pet peeve is you're part of some group, whether it's parents of a daycare child, and then somebody doesn't BCC, and then you get the freaking reply alls.
There was recently at my work a big like privacy uproar because the insurance company that we use was emailing people and asking them to confirm their information, like their name, address, phone number in email.
Oh.
And a lot of people were upset about that. And then
it's not.
I reminded people that phone books used to exist. And you should kind of chill out.
So people didn't want to give their own insurance company their phone number?
People didn't like that their information was being emailed.
I see.
And then it was also being CC'd to a distribution list.
Oh, why?
HR@companyname.com.
That's still, but why though? Like they don't need that information.
It was.
They also have it
Things
already.
are being changed. They need to like confirm details. And
I mean, you work at a cybersecurity company. I would not have conducted this kind of information gathering to a cybersecurity company. I would say, please log into our website and confirm that your information there is correct.
Yes. I used to get really mad at our bank because we would go to our like investment guy and then they'd be like, oh, is it okay if, we're doing surveys of like how it was, is it okay if they contact you? And I'd say, every time I say yes. And I get a phone call and be like, hi, we're a blah, blah, blah firm. We're doing surveys for like experiences from the bank. Can you give us your personal information, confirm that it's you? And I'm like, no. You can tell me and I will be like, yes, that is me. But you called me.
Yeah.
I did not call you.
Yeah. So did you ever answer a survey?
No, but I complained about it and eventually they stopped doing that.
You affected change in the world. Mm. They just stopped calling you specifically. Good enough. So this woman, Lena, that Jerry got the phone number of, she's too good.
So that becomes kind of the storyline throughout. But like, and I had actually forgotten most of this storyline. I remembered what happened with Kramer and I remembered what happened with like George and Elaine. But while Jerry was sitting there with Lena at dinner and she was talking about her, oh, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I volunteer at a soup kitchen. I'm like, what is Jerry doing with this woman?
Yeah. She's pretty.
That's exactly, that's what he likes about her.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I don't like people who do good things.
Right there.
I hate people. I don't like people who do good things and then talk about them a lot. Right? I feel like it's performative.
Sure, yeah.
Do-goodery. And if somebody asks, like, what did you do this morning? You're like, oh, actually, I volunteer at a soup kitchen. You don't just say, I'm taking the leftovers. I volunteer at a soup kitchen. I did this. Oh, I got this award for helping shut-ins. And she's too good. I don't like her. Where's the depravity?
Apparently, it's cases of Today sponges.
I thought maybe she was hoarding them so other people couldn't get them, and do sex.
It was like when nuns used to like poke holes in condoms.
They did that?
Yeah. You gotta give life a chance.
Yeah, they need a lot more unwed mothers to do their laundry.
I really liked when they confront George and they're like, yeah, what does Susan use? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm sure it's something.
Oh, that's why I wrote that. I wrote, I'm sure it's something, but I don't remember what it was. And then they're in the car going home. They're going to have sex. And she's like, oh, can you go to a pharmacy? I'm out of birth control stuff. Which, question, you live with somebody. Why would you ever run out?
It doesn't sound like they're having the wildest of sex lives. So maybe she ran out last time and hadn't had a chance to go pick it up because she was like, when am I going to need this?
Oh. And she says, don't park. You can run in. She goes, you don't know what I use.
Yeah, sure I do. It's the
Flagrin.
How did you write Flagrin?
I wrote flagel.
Yeah, I wrote flamin'.
I did really like when Jerry was about to tell George the secret of how he got Lena's number. George, so pleased.
I wrote in all capitals, George loves hot goss.
Yes.
And then right underneath that, after he tells Susan, I wrote, George spills the beans. However, they cannot secure a sponge, even after George, hat in hand, comes begging Elaine for a sponge. Elaine looked great in that scene. Man.
She's sponge-worthy.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he offer to pay her?
Or, I need a sponge now, I'll get you 10 when I find more.
Yeah. He's just begging. He's relying on his friendship question mark with Elaine.
He's going through the 7 stages of favor. And he's just at begging. He's not at negotiations yet.
She slammed the door before you get to the rest of it.
He's not made it to threatening, bargaining, and then acceptance.
So Elaine's not sure if Billy is sponge-worthy, so she conducts an interview where he presents his case. You gonna do something about those sideburns?
You laughed pretty hard when she said that.
Okay, let's go. You laughed pretty hard when Jerry goes over to Lena's and she goes, oh, I got this certificate for helping shut-ins. He goes, hey, that's dynamite.
That was a good line. I laughed really hard when Jerry was like, couldn't think of anything about what he was going to tell her, and just his face and his delivery when he says that he changed the 32 on his jeans to a 31, and he does it on all of his pants. It was just so funny. And
Lena decided he was unsponge-worthy.
Couldn't be with someone like that.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I had if you want to disregard my notes about Cedric and Bob and the AIDS walk. Do we still do AIDS walks?
I don't know.
I mean, I know they've made like a lot of like leaps and bounds with like what are they called? Not retroviruses. Like you can take pills every day. Well, there's PrEP, but there's also like if you are HIV positive, you can take
something
like antivirals.
Sure.
We'll call them antivirals.
Okay.
So do we not no more walks?
Did we do it? Did
we beat AIDS? We walked enough?
I don't think so.
The only other kind of thing that I wrote down is you can see in Jerry's apartment when Jerry confronts George for having told Susan they have bagels and cream cheese. Mm-hmm. And George smears cream cheese on top of an uncut bagel.
Oh, no. I did laugh really hard when Jerry's like looking into the bagel bag and then, why did you tell her?
Yeah.
That was probably the best like Jerry acting of the season.
Anger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Alina does tell him that they do have cream soups. That's what it is. Hey, that's dynamite. But I have no corrections. We are perfect.
No, I did mess something up. So
I am perfect.
Last week we talked about Anything's Pastable and their Italy trip. Mm-hmm. And we said Dan Pashman won't be on the trip with you. While he will not be on the entire trip with you, you will meet with him.
He's
will
going to
join
wave
the
to
trip.
you from a limousine?
No, he'll join the trip in Bari, which is the birthplace of spaghetti all'assassina, which, if you're unfamiliar with it, is a pan-fried spaghetti in tomato sauce, and Bari being the birthplace of spaghetti all'assassina. You'll dine at some of the original restaurants where the dish was birthed in the 1960s. Now, interestingly, you'll also learn about the history of some of the other pasta dishes, such as carbonara or grizia.
Uh-huh.
So Dan Pashman will be there. So we were wrong because we said Dan Pashman. You're going to go on this trip and Dan Pashman won't be there.
Thrilling.
Also, if you pre-order Dan Pashman's book, Anything's Pastable, you'll also be eligible for a Milk Street cooking class hosted by Dan Pashman on the 19th of this month. Anything's Pastable available where all books are sold online.
Hold up. This is a cooking class in person?
No, it's a virtual cooking class.
Oh, so like anybody can go.
You're invited if you pre-order the book. Pre-orders are live now.
Are you secretly sponsored by the Sporkful?
No. The only other thing that I did have was last week we did talk about how I had taken a picture of our coffee cup shelf, and there was only one coffee cup there. On the day that we recorded that podcast, I did go up and took another picture of our coffee cup shelf, and there was no coffee cups there because all of the coffee cups were dirty or in the dishwasher.
How many were on your desk?
One.
One.
What's going on next week?
The gum.
Interesting that Jerry talks about glasses at the start of this episode. We will see Jerry in glasses, and he will go to Chinatown and buy gum.
Okay. Well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?